Baba.
Okay, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a saw for cutting PVC, or a pipe cutter, which this is better to have. 1-inch plumbing PVC, the thin wall. 3/4 inch plumbing pipe. The thicker works better. Glue gun. The PVC pipe caps that will go on the 3/4 inch pipe caps. Your ruler. Sharpie. Some tape. And film canisters. Any of these will work. I don't know which kind. It's harder to find these, but this is the kind I use with the little goofy cap thing. This is the more common, like Kodak style. These would be easier to find. Just 35mm can. That's it. Whoops, I forgot something. You're gonna need some olive drab paint. This is Krylon. Nothing special, just as long as it's flat. And some gold paint. Another Krylon, got at Ace Hardware. It's not as shiny as that actually, but it just any gold paint will work. Okay, that's it now. Alright, what we're working with here is the 1-inch PVC makes the shell part, and then you've got the 3/4 inch pipe glued inside there, and then you got the 3/4 inch pipe over, which makes the bullet part, and then you've got the little film canister thing that snaps in the back. See, it's the same size, so it actually just snaps in the back. And if you can't find these, which are maybe hard to find, you can use the Kodak kind, which will give you the same type of look. I just happen to have a bunch of these styles around. So this is essentially what you got put together is a PVC pipe, the PVC pipe inside like that. Alright, step one is to grab your 1-inch pipe and just measure off 2 inches of pipe. Just a little mark like that. I like to use these cutters because it leaves a cleaner edge. It's not as easy because of the thin wall. It doesn't want to cut the same. So what I had to do was stick a piece of pipe inside of it to cut it. Alright, so you see I'm cutting this, and I got the 3/4 inch pipe inside of there because this wants to squish down. So the 3/4 inch pipe keeps it from squishing down too far. Same thing as you just measure off 2 inches of the 3/4 inch. I do want to stress one thing when you are cutting these, that you cut it nice and even if you have to cut it with a hacksaw, because you want the edges to go together really nice. Because if you get it nice and square, it'll look better, and the cap will look even better on the end if you get that nice and even. If you have to sand it or anything. Alright, now that you got your pieces all nice and painted up, the gold and the green, it might be too shiny depending on what kind of paint you have. So what I did is I just used some 600 grit and just sanded it down a little bit so it's a little flatter, because you don't want it to be shiny, because any of this military stuff is always really flat. So you just give it a little sanding like that. And the top, you can scuff it up a little bit just to make it look used, because I didn't want it to look too new. It was supposed to be like, and some of these cabs have like these little things on there, and you can sand that off if you want. But you can put some weathering in there just to make it look just kind of old. You know, give it that surplus look. Okay, so if you don't have the foam tape, you can use electrical tape or whatever, and just wrap that around thick enough so it just fits into the end like that. And you only need enough sticking out so the cap will go on there like that. You want to measure it so it's got enough for the cap to bite on. About like that. 3/4 of an inch. Alright, so now that you got it centered with the tape, then you can go ahead and glue it in. And just use your glue gun and just glue in the end right here. It's like the back side, because you don't want the glue in the front because it's gonna take up the space. So just lay a bead of glue in the back side to keep that in place. If you don't have this kind of film cap, you can just use the Kodak style, which actually just snaps right on there really well, and you can glue that on. So it looks a little different, but it'll still work. Fuji ones a long time ago, but maybe if you like the way it looks, you can still find those, or you can look at the hardware store for something else that will fit in there. But this had the look of sort of had the primer look at the end. And another thing about painting, you always want to use primer, because this is what happens when you don't use primer. The paint comes off. So this is an old one. I haven't messed with it, and it stayed pretty good. But it always helps to put primer on first, so it grabs the plastic, because it's so shiny, or it's slippery, and it needs that primer on there. So you've got your top piece, and you've painted your bottom piece, and you snap that in. That's pretty much it. And it looks crap because the paint came off. So you end up with this, which looks pretty good. And it actually feels a little bit solid. I mean, you could stick something inside of it if you're really looking for weight. It's hollow inside, so I mean, you could put something in there. I don't know, put some putty in there. But the idea was to do this quick and easy because I was in a hurry to finish. But I'm really happy with what it looked like. So this is what you end up with, is your when you get everything painted and everything, is your bandolier. So click on the link to go to part 2 and learn how to make your bandolier.